This is our group. We're the bestest group ever. My name's Aaron Curtis. We've got 3 other members in our group. Ingrid Choke may be able to join us here in just a little bit. And then we have Gover and Felipe. Say hi, guys.
Hi,
I'm Felipe.
I'm Gover.
So that's our group. We realize that 15 minutes to do this whole thing is kind of short, so we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to start by helping and sharing the first portion, which is taking and sharing the 7 steps of the functional development process used to design and develop the function. And the function that I've chosen to share, I've realized I no longer have on my screen, but it's called calc game progress right here. And so starting with step 1, I'm just going to work through them real quick. Define the problem. If you have to know where you are in the game. You have to know how close you are to finishing. Otherwise, there's no point in doing the game. If you're just going out and running, you have to know where you are. You have to be able to define. It has to be definitive as to what you're doing. So we created a test matrix, which I apologize I have not pulled up, to define the behavior of the method, and we tested areas. The if statements kind of show portions of it. You have to have a value above 0 for the amount traveled per day. You have to you can't go over 2,000. There's the max value there, and amounts between that are correct. And in the test matrix, we created this. Now, we created the pseudocode, and we've copied it in here. As you can see, it's right there. I'm highlighting now. And we have translated the algorithm into code here. So basically what's this saying is the distance traveled has to be more than 0. The value can't be less than 0. The distance traveled has to be, the distance traveled has to be more than 0, Then the distance traveled also has to be less than 2,000. When looking at the game, the Oregon Trail was between 2,000 to 2,200 miles. So in our game, we chose the lesser of the two, and you'll be traveling 2,000 miles. So you can't go over 2,000. And then you can't enter 0 because you have to travel something. Now we've created this down here to monitor the progress in the game, and you'll be able to see a % of the game finished using this small equation here, and a total distance portion of the game traveled using that function. Now we've already run this, so I'm going to run it again here for the presentation. I'm going to run this file, and then I'm going to expand this down here. And as you can see, oops, still running. And as you can see, I ran the wrong test. I apologize. I'm going to run the map control test here. And as you can see, it passes. Then we've deployed this. You can see the program we've done. We've deployed it several times. So to deploy it, generally we select the program. You come down to Git, come over to commit it, and then it's not letting me because there's no commits currently, nothing to push. Then to deploy the changes to the repository, we come down to Git and then come to remote and push. And that is the first step. Now I'm going to turn the time over to Gover to, he's going to start by sharing the individual use of example of the code that we wrote. Gover.
Okay, so Aaron, can you go directly to the choose occupation view, please? Okay, here it is. This view was made just to show a little screen telling the user what of the three occupation the user will choose. So can you scroll down, please? There. So in the get inputs, we got the little menu, and after to show the menu to the user, in line 58, we ask the user to write uh, something. Then the value that the user write, we just trim the string and delete some special characters at the beginning of the string. After that, we validate if if the if the things the user type have more than one character. Then we put the value, and then we go to the display part. Can you scroll up a little bit, please? More to go to the display method. Okay, here's the display method. We have a do while statement that get the inputs. In line 35, we got the inputs in the get inputs method. If the input is it's okay, or if not a queue, so we continue with the do action with the do action method. The do action method return a boolean type. So if the user uh, just uh, uh, like type something, it will return true, and if that return true, it will lead from the loop. So that's how the do while works. If the validation is false, so it will repeat the loop until the validation goes to true. After that, we use the switch statement just to choose the occupation, and when we choose the occupation, we pass a parameter to the assign occupation in line 95. So here's another method in the game control that create all the occupation in an array. Then we get the game, and after that we just set the occupation. We put the occupation in the game, and then save all the change we made in the game object in the general game, in the general program. Um, Now to explain my own method, we can you go to the item control, Aaron? Okay, we have the add item to stop. We have two parameters here, the name and the quantity. The method just validate if the name it's okay, and if the quantity is more than 0. After that, we just set the quantity, and then return the validation. So if there is no errors, the item will just return true. Otherwise, we return false. So we tested it in our test unit. So can you go to the item control test? So please run it. So we made a little test matrix when we return all fails. So can you click on open the result windows? Okay, is there? So here are our results of the program. So if we have an invalid quantity or an invalid name, so it will just return false. Otherwise, will return true. So that's all.
Okay, hi, I'm Felipe. I'm going to explain about the choose mode option. I was working in that. Can you help me, Aaron, please? Perfect. In this part, the display was the same for everyone. We could work, Weber explained that. So in the line 39, yes, 39, we can see the get input. Now we are going to work with the Boolean. The Boolean value in this moment is equal false. And we are going to work with while. This is a part of the menu. We are going to have this part in between the line 44 to line 53. And we're going to have some option. And the next lines, we're going to receive the input from the player, and we're going to value that. And the line 58, we have a different variable. This is a type chart, a equal value chart add. This can help us to validate more information. So in the next line, we're going to see if and if else if. So in this part, we're going to value if the input from the player is long than, for example, 1 or 2 letters. So in the first part, in the line 59, we have that it's necessary to continue with the operation that the input can be less than 1. We're going to receive a message. It is, you have to decide between one of the options because we have only 1, 2, 5, and Q option. And in the else if is, for example, the player input a different letter than Q, we are going to receive other one message. And down in the do action, can you help me, Aaron, please? To finish that, then do action, we are going to receive other part of the statement. Option is a switch. We can receive a different operation according the option input. So in the part of the test, we are going to watch in map control, and we are going to check the class move to, I'm sorry, okay, yeah, the method move to the new location. So we have in this moment and checkpoint. So we are going to work with that class, and the text, the unit test, we can see that we receive this message, the location has been visited, because the test of this amplitude is working. So this is my part for this step.
Ingrid, I believe, may be unable to join us at this time. Ingrid, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, I'm going to explain something about the help menu that we implement. Please, if you could help me, Aaron. Okay, so in line 17, we start with the display. And could you go down, please? Yeah. Just there, little up. Well, we are working with the while value, and well, there is a message that said system out printing. It brings different options to the gamer, like pick a menu option, frequently questions about the game, general information, when to buy it, and quit. Then, could you go down, please? Yeah, we have an if. Little up, please. Up. Yeah, we are working with the if. And for example, if the gamer introduces a value that is more than 1, the system outprint in line 56, you have to decide between one of these options. So the gamer can continue the game just if he chooses between one of these options. Then the input will bring us through and will lead us to the next step. Could you go down, please? Yeah, in this case, we are working with a Boolean value and the do action. So in the help menu, it's going to bring us different options, like recon questions about the game, general information, and when to buy. And this execute this part of the game, and well, it returns true by default. And yeah, could you test it, please? Run it. Could you run it, please?
Ingrid, I think you're, I'm having a hard time hearing you there. I apologize. But thank you for presenting that. We'll go on. I'm going to go ahead and speak about the debit money and the game menu view. I'm going to start with the game menu view here, and I'll shrink this so we can see it. We're going a little over time here, so I'm going to try and speak as quickly as I can. We've already talked about the display. It's nearly, if not identical, on all of our views. So just be repetitive to explain it again. We know that the select statements we're using here, we're doing a do while. Scooting on down to the get input, we have it's similar to others. It's a Boolean value, and we have the users select an option, continue on trail, clear through down, stop to rest. And obviously this is after the game has started. So this is where it is. In this line we have, right here we have the user make the selection, it trims it. We make sure that they actually select. We use an if statement here, make sure they actually select something and don't just hit enter. It can't be blank. Then as long as it passes true, we go down to the do action. These are the different functions or methods, excuse me, that are called on when, depending on the option they pick from the user input section, from the do input, from the get input, excuse me. So down here, we use a switch statement that, depending on the option they choose, 1, 2, etc., you can, and I've just realized an error in my code. I apologize. I'll fix it later. But we can it passes information on to start a, if they select 1, then it selects continue on trail, that method, and then breaks and stops the code. It pulls out and it comes on down to continue on trail, this code. If you select 4, it obviously doesn't select these 3, comes here, selects change pace, and then breaks, and it ends that cycle. And you do have a default that if you don't select anything, or if you select something invalid, it will display an invalid menu item. And now on top of that, I am also going to explain the debit money method. All right, here we go. So as you can see, this is another one similar to the calculating progress that I already explained. We have our pseudocode here that we've translated that basically take the amount according to the amount is tied to the occupation. The different occupations you get determines how much money you get. You take that total amount that is going to be debited, and you get that. You call on the get quantity method and the get cost method, and you multiply them. That equals the total amount. Now, if the total amount is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, it's an invalid amount and it will return false. Otherwise, it will set money, or it will it'll call on the get money, subtract the total amount from this line, from line 81, and then it will set the remaining portion back to the private set money method. This is my presentation, and as you can see, it's using an if else statement here, and there are other ways you could have done it. I felt that the if else statement was the simplest and the most concise. So now I'll pass the time back over to, oh, I've got to run it. I apologize. Let me run that real quick, and see the test. It already ran before I could get it popped open. As you can see here, test, is that the right one? Debit money, amount, and you can see that it is test passed. Now I believe Gover is going to continue. Excuse me, Felipe is going to talk about scope and lifespan now.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. In this part is easy because we can explain about the scope and lifespan. This is, can you show us whatever class, please, Aaron? Thank you. In the beginning, we can declare different variables. So in this part is when we set different values when it starts and when it ends. So a scope is when, for example, when you use a method and declare different variable into the method. This is a different scope, but the lifespan depend of the bracket. So we start the class with a bracket, and in this moment the lifespan of different variable starts and finish when the bracket of the class ends. This is all.
Okay, so Aaron, can you go to the item control class, please? Okay, can you scroll up a little bit, please? In the add item to stock at the beginning of the class, we have two parameters, a string parameter and an int parameter. The string parameter is paused by reference, and the int parameter is paused. The string is paused by reference, and the int, is paused by value. What is the difference? When we use an object, we pause by reference. When we use a variable, we pause by value. So how we can know what is the difference? The majority of the classes needs to begin with a capitalized name. For example, a string is it begins with a capitalized letter, and the int is not with a capitalized letter. When we write the native Java types, it becomes blue in the NetBeans environment, so we can know how we can possibly just knowing what is the type of the variable. So that's all how we can know how we pass the references.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and end now. We realize we've probably gone over a little bit on time, but we appreciate watching this video. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.